Welcome to the Matt Laricy Project. This is a show about all things real estate, business, marketing, and entrepreneurship. Each show consists of myself, Matt Laricy, and a member of my team, and a guest. This week, the Matt Laricy Group team member joining us is none other than John Paul Combs.
How you doing? Combs?
Combs? I always pronounce your last name wrong.
Yeah, you always get it wrong.
Known as the Pope.
Yeah, a.k.a. the Pope.
And this episode is episode 14 called What's Cooking in Chicago with Tony Priolo.
That voice, you got that right.
Yes, yeah.
Nailed it.
Head chef of Piccolo Sogno.
One of the best.
What we just found out is a fellow Sicilian too. So John Paul the Pope is Sicilian. You're also from Sicily as well?
Yes,
or
third generation Sicily, yeah.
And you guys are, families are somewhat close to each other. 'Cause Sicily,
Probably related, you never know.
Yeah.
Probably in some way, shape, or form.
I mean, it's not that big
No, it's not. It's
of,
really
of
not.
a country. So, all right. So what is your background, Tony? Like, how did you start learning to cook and stuff?
Born and raised in Chicago, Northwest Side. My grandmother, after my grandfather passed away, she lived with us. And as a child, she cooked in our basement. And I spent most of my childhood with her or playing baseball, one of the two.
Okay.
So 90% of the time, because of Chicago weather is not that good, I would spend my time with her. And she would take me all around the city on bus. And we didn't have Uber back then.
Yeah.
This was like the early 70s. And she would take me showing me off to her friends, buying different ingredients or parts for her grinder or a specific cutting board she wanted. And we would go to Little Italy. So we lived by Harlem Avenue.
Yeah.
It was a long ride on a bus.
Yeah. So you'd go there. So it's like kind of like the old school, you know, I think you always think that like your grandma has, well, not that you think, but like you always feel like your grandma has the best cooking, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
hands
like,
down.
you know, you're probably really influenced by it, especially when you're a young age and the smells and, you know, just like obviously the taste of the food and it got you probably really excited about it. And was she the main chef of the family for you guys?
She was, yeah. And after, like I said, my grandfather passed away, she really focused in on cooking. And what she would do is she would enter recipe contests as well.
Nice.
So the baking and whatever, she would win them all.
No kidding.
Yeah, and you had to do everything by mail, and then she'd get $5.
Yeah.
But now that's
right.
all
back to mailing contests back in the day.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah,
That's awesome.
I remember she would write recipes on egg cartons, or the styrofoam egg cartons.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's
Wow.
awesome. Now, do you have any other siblings at all?
I have a brother and sister. Yeah, older brother and younger sister.
Do they cook?
They don't.
So now everybody forces you to be the new.
Well, that's what it was. As a
family.
kid growing up,
Yeah.
I didn't want to do the cleaning because after you eat, you just want to sit around and do
Right.
nothing. And I didn't want to clean beforehand, so I would cook, and then my little sister and older brother would have to cook or clean
Just a team.
the house.
So
So
like
yeah,
that.
I did all the cooking because my parents both worked after my grandmother passed away, and so I would do. And so I would do all the chores. My chore would be the cooking.
Nice.
Not a
So
bad
our
chore.
smother mall, yeah.
So now I'm sure at the holiday parties everybody
Oh, yeah.
expects you to bring all the food and cook, right?
Yeah, they're used to it, and
No-
which is also better because then I can know it's going to be good.
Right. That's that's actually a good point. Now, what about your restaurant career? Obviously, you're at Piccolo now. Were you anywhere before that? Like, how did you get started in that?
Yeah, I actually was working at another restaurant, and I got tired of working for somebody else, so I called a friend of mine who I worked with a long time ago.
Yeah.
In 2008, I said, let's do this. It's about time. And we were looking for real estate space, and we signed a lease at Grand Milwaukee and Halstead, and it was kind of a sketchy area. And
How long ago was this?
2008.
Wow.
Right,
So,
right
yeah,
there.
totally different. And
And that was
Big
a
change.
horrible time.
Yeah.
Horrible time
Yeah.
for we were
Big
probably the last
recession.
people to get a loan, and then we bought that that space, not the building, just the space, and leased it, and now we have 3 restaurants. So
how nervous were you when you took that first leap of kind of being like, hey, worst recession we've seen since the Great Depression, and you're about to open up a restaurant which has like about a 90% failure rate?
yeah, so I didn't even think about the recession.
Okay.
I was more concerned about paying my bills,
Yeah.
and I was very confident on my cooking, and I was confident on the service part. It was my business partner, Ciro Longobardo, is amazing
Yeah.
at that. And when I did my business plan, my only goal was making sure everybody get paid.
Nice.
And I figured, I didn't think about that it would be this successful.
So what you were starting to think in your head is to create what you call a win-win scenario. And this is something I talk about with a lot of business owners, is that the people who kind of focus on, not just making money today, but making sure that their employees win, that they win, and their customers win, it usually creates for the best business.
That makes sense. I mean, I didn't open a restaurant to I'll be honest, I didn't open a restaurant to make money.
Right.
I mean, I wanted to be comfortable and pay my bills, but I did it because I wanted to express myself.
Yeah.
And appreciate, because a lot of times when you work for somebody in a restaurant, they don't really appreciate the staff. You know? And I mean, that time is changing. So I wanted to give back as well.
So, I mean, the reality is you're very passionate about it. You can even tell the way you talk about it. And, you know, you wanted to kind of express yourself on a plate.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And, you know, the cherry on top is the fact that, like, you know, money comes in for it.
But I never even realized that was coming in. You know, like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
That was kind of a good bonus.
Yeah, that's the best part, though. And, you know, John Paul, you had your first date at Piccolo, right?
I did, yeah. My first date with my current girlfriend, yeah.
Oh, good, yeah.
Yeah,
so if you ever get married, you'll just have to do your engagement party there again.
I guess, yeah. My sister had her engagement party there, actually.
Oh, see, there you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
John Paul's a big fan of Piccolo.
It's like one of my favorites. That backyard in the summertime, you can't beat it. It doesn't even feel like you're in the city. It feels like you're somewhere else.
Hopefully our summer will come, but yeah,
we're getting there.
It's amazing back there.
Now, do you think, like, for, like, you said you started the business and everything like that, do most chefs start off in the industry like as like a head chef or like?
Oh, no, absolutely not. No, like, I started as a dishwasher.
Oh, wow. Okay.
When I was in high school, this was like 19. I know I'm going to sound old. I'm probably older than you guys. I started working in restaurants over 30 years ago. So 87, about 1987, I started working in restaurants.
But you probably always had the passion for it, because I mean, and anything in life you have to start to be successful. I always feel, minus born into something crazy rich, you start at the bottom and you work your way up.
Yeah,
and it seems like the
and
chefs
that's what you have to
like
do, because how would you be how are you able to teach somebody something that you don't know? And if you're at the top,
very true.
Yeah. So if you start at the bottom and work your way up, and you do it slowly, there's not going to be a quick progression. You know, you have to do it slow and learn from your mistakes. And
I think that's the biggest problem, especially for some of our listeners out there, is that, you know, in today's day and age with our, you know, like quick emails, quick internet connection, everybody has that instant gratification, thinking that, like, hey, they'll be a dishwasher this year and then next year they're going to be the head chef of one of the most famous restaurants, right?
That's not going to happen. TV definitely makes it look like that, but absolutely not.
Yeah. I mean, what about like a typical day? Like, how does a typical day work for like a head chef like yourself?
Now, 10 years in to Piccolo Sogno, it's a little bit easier. But first, I would wake up. Actually, I lived close by your office here.
Yeah.
And I would walk to work. And sometimes I would, when we were building it.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, I would stay overnight so I can get up early, make bread at 4 in the morning. Then I'd make gelato. Then I'd go home and take a shower. Then come back and make the fresh pasta.
Yeah.
10 years in, now I've taught everybody to do that. So I come in a little bit easier. But I have a great team. And like it's backtracking, if you take care of your people that work with you, then they're going to take care of you as well, and they take pride and ownership. So my job has gotten a lot easier.
So you're not like Gordon Ramsay in there, like swearing.
That's TV. That's TV. Yeah, no, there's no. I doubt there's any screaming in any restaurants anymore, because you know, social media.
Yeah, could kill your career, right?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Yeah,
and you need to be fair to people.
Sure.
Now, what about like when you built and stuff like that? Do you have like a chef underneath you? You like, trust a lot?
Oh yeah, I have a chef's cuisine who started off as an intern, and I think he's been with me 8 years. He worked and then I have 2 sous chefs at Piccolo Sogno. Then at Maillard Tavern is another restaurant that we operate, and I have a guy that worked with me for 20 years. He's running that, and at Nonnina, another guy I've known since 1987. Is the chef de cuisine.
Love Nonnina. Nonnina's great.
That's great. That's a tribute to our grandmothers.
Yeah,
no kidding.
Or American Italian style food.
That means great grandmother in Italian.
Yeah, it's like if a little kid wants something sweet, so you know, like nonna, and like if you want to sweeten up the pot, there, say Nonnina, so you can get an extra cookie or something.
And you mentioned Maillard Tavern, right? And you guys, I read that there was like something crazy happened with the burger challenge or something like that.
Yeah, we entered the Chicago Gourmet, and I'm known for Italian food, and we went in and won both the People's Choice and the Judge's Choice, which has never happened in the history of the Chicago Gourmet. So it's like a mic drop.
Yeah. Chicago Gourmet is a huge ordeal.
Yeah.
What was the burger that you cooked?
It was a tribute to a French dish that, because I grew up actually cooking French food as well.
I'm a big French fan.
I was going to say.
So I worked at it's like a Tornado's Rossini, which is a French dish named after a classical opera singer, Rossini.
Okay.
And it has foie gras and truffles and beef. So there you go.
Can't go wrong with truffles.
So do you make that often at the...
It's on the menu. It's been on the menu since day one. So, you know, when I thought I'm going to enter this contest. I had no idea I was going to win, and I just wanted to, showcase the restaurant. So I picked out a burger that I thought would showcase really well, and it also showcased my creativity. I had no idea that I blew everything else away.
So how many times was that burger ordered before you entered the contest compared to like today?
Yeah. Well, definitely winning that has increased our business. There's no doubt. I couldn't tell you the exact number, but it definitely increased.
So a little bit more exposure because the restaurant's still relatively new.
It's new. It's there for a year.
Okay.
Just a little over a year. We opened up right before Christmas, and last year in December. So. And
kind of like you were saying, like when he first opened up Piccolo in 2008. That area was kind of like an area where people were like, that may take off, and then the market dropped, and everybody said like nobody ever wants to live there. And then over the last like 4 to 5 years, that area has
just popped,
exploded. I mean, there's nothing but construction going on.
Absolutely, and I had a condo. I used to live around the corner from where Piccolo was, and I bought that in probably, I don't know, 1999, 2001, something like that. Okay. And I sold it around 2006 because 2007, I needed money to fund the restaurant. Right. I wish I would have kept that.
Yeah, I mean, it's
that would have been great.
It'd be worth a lot more money now. So, you're saying that you entered that, a Chicago Gourmet and stuff like that, and obviously you probably know a lot of other prominent chefs. Is it crazy competitive between
Absolutely
you guys?
Not, no.
Everybody kind of get along really well?
We get along, yeah. We support each other. It's not like your world. So, totally opposite. I'm sure you guys all get along, but, it's not like we're fighting for a customer. Yeah. We share. Like, if I have a great customer who wants to try something, I'll call another chef. Hey, can you get this guy in? He wants to come and try it. Right. We're a team.
Yeah. I mean, well, you know what, though? We say that a lot is that I think you get farther with collaboration than
Absolutely.
Competing against each other, because at the end of the day, your consumer's going to win. Like in our business, I think that, if we're all fighting with each other and looking like jerks, I mean, the consumer's going to think we all have like these egos and they're not going to
Yeah, that's probably from the TV stuff, though. Yeah, exactly. I see that on TV.
Yeah. So, and it's kind of like in your business, it's like, like people want to go out to eat and go to a nice restaurant. And if they don't have a good experience or people are talking shit about each other, like people actually, in the real world, minus the political and all these other ads where people are mudslinging, it's not the same way here. So what about, you've been on TV shows before, right?
Yep.
Yeah. You were on Beat Bobby Flay, right?
I was on Beat Bobby Flay, yeah.
And you won?
I did, yeah.
Beat him.
Yeah.
What was that like? So every night before I go to bed, I watch Beat Bobby Flay. This is a true story.
Seriously,
I'm a huge Bobby Flay fan.
It's a great show.
I think I like his background a lot too. I've read a couple of his books.
He didn't get some positive press because he was so excited he won an Iron Chef the first time he jumped up on the table.
Yeah.
But the guy is brilliant. The guy can cook. He's smart. He's funny. He was a gentleman when I met him. Confident. Yeah. And he doesn't like to lose, even though it's TV. But he's in the back. He's like, from what I understand, he kind of takes it personal. So if I'm sure I went up against him again, he would take me out.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no idea, but I just know that from talking to his producers and he's supportive of the restaurant community.
Right.
Yeah. He's definitely we need more of him, and I know TV chefs don't really get a lot of kudos. So he definitely deserves it because he helped our industry.
Yeah, I think so. And what about like getting on a show? Is that something like you apply for? Or did they approach you? Or
so our PR company, when we opened up Nonnina, set the bar. Actually, they set the bar and said, you need to do this. So they sent out application. All you do is just send something basic, and then they contacted me back, and I forgot all about it. I'm like, what is this again? So let me try it. I don't think I'm going to go through, and then it was kind of a long, vigorous process, paperwork, and it kind of worked out.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you think you've gotten more, customers and stuff?
Oh, absolutely, yes, absolutely. Because it still airs usually around the holidays, because it was a Thanksgiving one, and people come in and talk about it, and this is 2 years later.
Wow.
Do you have that dish on the menu at Piccolo?
It's been on so it's been on our menu since day one. Because we change our menu seasonally, and it's been on our menu always in the fall.
What is the dish, just for people who haven't seen it?
Butternut squash ravioli.
And what made you choose that dish? Like, is there any background behind
that? They wanted to do something seasonal, and I said, well, let's try this. Yeah. And they said it'll be perfect because the producers want Bobby to lose, so they're like, let's do this pasta because we want him to lose. And it's everything is real time when you're on the show, so nothing is like. So he had no idea. Whoever makes it to that second round, they have no idea what
they don't see, because I'm always like, how
That's
do they
crazy.
conveniently have like these things like sitting waiting for it?
So they'll have ingredients on. There's like a special like store, that they have. He'll have ingredients, so he has to go pick that stuff out. He has no idea.
Man, I love the fact that you said that the producers want him to lose.
Yeah,
too.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's great. But
well, because it's good TV as well.
Yeah.
But
So-
he doesn't lose, so
Yeah,
It's
well,
rare.
yeah.
rare, but he lost to you, so that's awesome. And, so what about like, obviously you cook these like great dishes. Like, what about dinner? What did you eat for dinner last night?
Last night I think I had chicken marsala. I made it home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you cook every night at home for the kids?
When
and
I'm
stuff?
home, I stayed home because the kids are sick. But when I'm home, I make sure that we have family dinner.
So you have, and he mentioned before the show, you have 2 kids, right?
2 kids, yes.
Now, do you think you want any of them to kind of follow in Dad's footsteps?
Up to them. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a 5-year-old daughter who cooks with me, but she also, likes art and whatever she wants to do, I'll support her. She wants to go to college, I'll help her. My wife and I are.
Yeah. Do you think there's gonna be a beat Tony throwdown with your daughter someday,
Absolutely
maybe?
not. No, TV's not. I got a radio face, not a TV face. So yeah.
Is there like a favorite ingredient you like to cook with?
Depends on the season.
Okay.
I think first season like now, I'm excited about artichokes, fava beans, peas because it's springtime.
Yeah.
And wintertime, I'm all about braising dishes, and fall time, I'm all about squashes. So it always changes.
So you like to try to like change with the seasons, create
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Like, is there like fresh ingredients that like no matter what you use as a go-to in like dishes, no matter what season or anything like that?
Yeah, pasta would be it. Pasta risotto. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, how experimental would you say you are with like cooking? Do you try different stuff all the time?
I don't try too much. I try because I'm known for, and then my heart is with Italian food, and there's not a lot of experimentation in Italian food. It all adapts with technology.
Yeah.
So from making a pesto in a mortar and pestle or in a Roboku,
Yeah.
which a food processor.
Right.
So that's how it evolves.
Would you consider a Piccolo Sogno menu, is it like a hybrid between northern cuisine and southern cuisine?
It's
or is it all over the
combination.
board?
Yeah, it's all over the board. Food from mine and my business partner's travels and experiences. Because food is all about experience. So if you close your eyes and eat something that you had as a child, you're going to remember. It'll set off these little notes in your head, and you'll remember what you did when you ate this as a kid. Like certain smells and things, so all your senses, and that's part of the reason why I love cooking as well. Because I loved being a kid and sitting around a holiday table with 40 of my relatives, eating snails or whatever.
Yeah, it brings back the memories and stuff. Now, you mentioned something though, John Paul, which is good, is the fact that like the difference between northern and southern Italian. Now, I don't think the average person actually knows what is the difference between northern and southern Italian.
Just so it could be from town to town. Everything is varies upon region, of course, because in Italy you eat a lot from what you eat, from what you see, from what you hear, what you smell.
Right.
So if you're in the middle of Tuscany, you see olive groves and wine groves and pheasants flying by, and so that's what you're eating.
Yeah.
Rabbits. If you live on the coast of Tuscany, you live in Livorno, you're eating fish.
Yep.
The stews with the same influence. And then if you're in the north, Piemonte, you're going to eat truffles and mushrooms, and dairy because it's the higher Alp area. And it's,
more earthy maybe.
Yeah, and then Sicily, you're going to eat seafood. Eggplant is prominent there, and citrus and sardines and oily fishes because you're around the ocean. So it all depends.
Is there a favorite region you have that you like to cook with?
I'm going to say I'm partial to Sicily because that's where my family's from.
Okay.
But I worked in Tuscany, so I've had a good fondness for there. But all throughout Italy.
What's your favorite dish to make?
Like I said, it depends on the day and the time. Like right now, I'm really into like fava beans and peas and artichokes because it's the season. So maybe a pasta with that.
Okay. What about wine? You into wine at all?
Of course, yeah. There's certain things that I like. Is
there a favorite region you have? I mean, I'm assuming it's Italian.
It's going to be Sicilian, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Nero d'Avolos, definitely. Okay. But it all depends on what I'm eating.
Okay.
And that's the thing about Italian food. It's so versatile, and Italian wine is the same thing. You could have a dish. If you went to a restaurant in Puglia, you're going to drink Pugliese wine. You're not going to drink Tuscan wine.
Right.
So.
Do you do a lot of stuff pairing like at the restaurant at all?
Oh, our wait staff and our managers, and
they
pair with the food for sure. If it's requested. we always suggest that.
What about, like, in talking about the restaurant? Like, is there, like, a coolest person, like, you've ever had to cook for? Any, like, celebrities that come in often or anything?
All you guys, for sure.
I mean, I like to think we're pretty cool, but.
Yeah. We've had a bunch of celebrities, and we try and give them their discretion, so.
Yeah.
I can tell you, U2 comes in, we don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
You know, like, if somebody comes to the restaurant, we don't say anything. If they want to talk about it, they can.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's good press if they tag you guys in it on their Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, most of them don't do that because they don't do their own Instagram.
Yeah,
but
totally.
It would be nice.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it's good exposure.
Or you could just take a picture. You know, we don't allow pictures, but if they, you know, like the security said, hey, do you guys want to take a picture with Bono? We're like, yeah, of course. Yeah. So then we put it and tag it on there. Yeah.
I'm sure you're not fighting like, oh, okay, Bono's here.
Exactly.
I got a dish cooking, but I guess I got to walk out and do a
Yeah, I mean, but there's been so many, and you know, those guys are normal too, so we try and let them lead their normal life.
Yeah.
So we don't put it out there. So I know there's some restaurant groups that, and it's good for them. They use it for the marketing and PR. Maybe we're not as intelligent, but we also want them, because we're not doing it, but we want people to be people.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it has anything to do with intelligence levels. I think it's different personalities, and
yeah, it could be. Yeah,
you know, I think maybe people might come back there more often, knowing that they
that's
don't have
the point.
Put on
So they've been back. Like just example, YouTube's been back a few times.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they're, like you said, they're people, and like they got lives too, and like they just want to be like, I just want to relax without having to put out
a great meal.
Yeah, the dog and pony show. So, what about like how much has like the restaurant scene changed since you've gotten into it, like in Chicago?
I can tell from my experience on Italian food when I first started cooking Italian food in downtown, because I worked in smaller Italian restaurants as a kid growing up in my neighborhood, but like people were, because of travel is easier. Yeah. So they're definitely knowledgeable on Italian food. So like 10 years ago, selling rabbit or wild boar or truffles would be an issue. Now it's like they're demanding it.
Huh. That's interesting. Like, what about like other Italian restaurants? Is there other Italian restaurants, your competitors, that you think do Italian food really well?
Oh, I think most all of them do. Yeah. I mean, it's not that the competitors were on the same team; they're just different levels of food. Like Spiaggia is amazing. Right. You know, there's so many of them, and then there's hybrids. People like chefs that open like Italian Spanish style restaurants, or you know.
So take your love of Italian out of it. What's your second favorite type of food?
Mexican, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, Mexican is pretty awesome. I mean, you probably crave Mexican food a lot. You know I do.
I crave all food. I'm fat. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But like, what about like your favorite restaurant in Chicago outside of ones that you do?
I don't really get out to eat much. What I do, I have to go visit my friends.
Yeah.
It's hard to go out to eat. You know, I have a 9-month-old and a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
5-year-old gets jealous. The 9-year-old needs your attention. So we'll get out there again soon.
So it's probably like the way I'm looking at it is like you're in the kitchen all day, and like when you're out of it, you're like the last thing you want to do is go to a restaurant.
No,
is that mentality at all? No.
No, I might stop out on the way home to get something, for my wife and I. But no, restaurants are, I'll take my family out, but I like enjoying this family time together because I'm not during the week. I'm working a lot, and then I'm off Sunday and Monday. I want to spend time with my family. That
makes a lot of sense. What about like where do you guys get ingredients? Because I'm assuming, I shouldn't say. I'm assuming. I know that there's you guys only use like fresh ingredients at the restaurant.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Is there certain places that you guys use as sources for it and stuff like that?
Yeah. So we have probably. I don't change many vendors, so we have good relationship with our vendors. I've used some of the same vendors for over 20 years.
Wow.
So they can source stuff for us. If they can't, then we make phone calls. There's companies that are internet-based that you can check out, so you can get fresh stuff from other parts of the world, like Italy.
Yeah. Is there different? Do you have to use different vendors for the different restaurants?
Absolutely, yeah. We probably there's more wine vendors that we have than we do have for food vendors.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, maybe a dozen, but. Of food vendors and maybe 2 or 3 dozen for the wine.
Has that changed at all, like the food vendors, because I mean, obviously there's more regulations that I feel like almost every day.
It's coming. There's HACCP coming where you have to follow things. It's more procedures, and we like to use small vendors, not big vendors.
Yeah.
So.
What about like as a chef? Is there an ultimate goal that you guys try to accomplish every night or anything like
Make
that?
Make sure that our guest has the best experience possible.
Okay.
And they want to come back.
Yeah.
Our idea is at Piccolo Sogno, we want to transport you to Italy without you going to Italy, and you come back and say, you know what, I had this, you know. And for us, if you get a new customer, you probably get a lot of new customers come in. If you can win over that customer, they may come back a second time. There's always a possibility. And if they come back a second time, they'll most likely come back a third, and then you can win them over.
Yeah, and then they become regulars, and
that's what you want. Because you know, January, February, March, when nobody's coming out, those are the guys that are helping your business, and we're here to take care of somebody. And I have no ego. If somebody wants to come in and they want fettuccine Alfredo, I don't have it on my menu. I'm making it. You know, what's the difference of me cooking this to that? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned something I didn't know about. You said January, February, March. Are those slower months?
It's the slowest month, because, after the holidays, everybody's overspent. Tax season's coming up. Weather's horrible. So that's why we do Restaurant Week during that time.
Okay.
To help promote, because, it's freezing cold outside. You're not going to go to a restaurant. So.
You know that?
Yeah, I knew Restaurant Week was on that time.
Yeah, but I didn't know that's why they did it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know. Yeah. Well, I mean, how often, well, you just had a baby, but how often do you guys normally go out to eat in January, February, March?
That's true.
Yeah, it's hard to go out to eat at all. But I mean, these guys are out all the time. But I mean, so what about and you're talking about the experience. Have you had a craziest dining experience with a customer or anything at all like that? That was
outrageous? Oh, it happens all the time,
Yeah. What, can you give us maybe one crazy example that's just nuts?
Off the top of my head.
Because I see people all the time making, because I think we're in customer service ultimately is what we do. I mean, we're in sales. But
I'll just give you an example. Okay, I donated a dinner for a charity, and I'm not going to name the charity. I'm not going to name the customer. And so I had to go up to their house to cook. And we donated this. They bought it. And it was about 6 months prior. And I recently have done this. And this will always stick with me. And then they started some special diet.
Okay.
Right. And I worked along their menu along this whole time. And there was probably, for this dinner of 10 people, 200 emails.
Wow.
Changing the menu back and forth. And, at one point, I just, called the company that I donated to. I said, listen, you guys got to help me out here because I can't keep changing things back and forth, especially within the last week. Because you go to somebody's house, you're bringing food that, I don't have ways to change it. If they're at the restaurant, it'd be different.
Right.
So I offered to bring it at the restaurant because they're all changed. And then when we got there, I got yelled at.
Oh my gosh.
From one of the people from the couple because they were on this strange diet, and so they found a way to yell at me for absolutely no reason. I was just sitting there because you're in customer service. Well, okay, I'll do my best.
Right. Right.
I'm not going to give you situations. And I was just sitting there, thinking in my head, just laughing. I'm like, thank God I don't have to live with this person.
Yeah.
And the spouse, when that person came in the room, the spouse took off, and the other spouse was so happy. So the best person. And I'm not going to give names.
Yeah.
I just felt so bad. And then during the meal, I found out that they were allergic to, or they were not eating meat. During these 200 emails, that never was mentioned.
Wow.
So they wanted a second fish course, but I didn't have preparation for it.
Right.
Because I only brought enough food. Right. So I was just I don't know.
A disaster.
It was.
Sounds
in the end, it worked out. I mean, they donated a lot of money for a charity.
Yeah.
I would do it all again.
Right.
But it was kind of a fun experience. So I laugh at it now.
Yeah.
I was frustrated earlier, and I would do it again because the money went to a good cause. They had enough money to donate it. My resource, I donated my time and my food. My partner donated the wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good way to look at it, though. I mean, especially even for we have a lot of real estate agents that watch our stuff, and I always say is that at the end of the day, you're in customer service and you're going to be put in positions that you don't want to be put in. You could look at it like a negative experience and bitch about it, or you could swallow your pride and just know that hey, I did something great for a charity. It made a big difference. So my life sucked for the night, but at the end of the day, the charity won.
And then you laugh at it.
Right.
And, if this all situation happened again, I would absolutely do it all again.
That's a great way.
Yeah, because, you got to entertain yourself, too.
Right. I mean, listen, you don't want to do the same thing over and over again either,
Yeah.
So we have our co-host here ask what we call the Fast Five, which are 5 questions that we tried to see how you answer. John Paul, you ready?
All right, yeah. Okay. So the first one, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Follow your heart, and the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Wow.
All right.
That's good.
Do you love to win or hate to lose?
Love to win.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And who's your biggest hero?
I'd say my grandmother and my wife.
Nice.
Awesome. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
That's a good one. I don't know. Stop time so I can sleep more.
That's good. What makes you Chicago?
What makes me Chicago? Where I was born and raised, and where my passion is and my heart. Yeah.
Cool.
Nice. So where can people find you, and what would you want to plug?
I'd say come check us out at Piccolo Sogno Restaurant.com, MaillardTavern.com, or NonninaChicago.com.
Nice. And we can all attest. We've been there. They're all amazing. Make sure to tune in to our next episode, guys. Subscribe to our podcast. Thanks for listening to the Matt Laricy Project.
Thanks for having me.